Namaste and welcome to this special discussion on Union Budget 2025. Today, Union Finance Minister Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman has presented a budget which has created ripples not just in the market but also among the common masses. And to explain and make us understand the budget, we have with us Shri Gopal Krishna Agarwal ji, who is a BJP spokesperson, but beyond that, he is also economist himself, looks after the economic affairs in the ruling party, and he will, help us understand the key features of the budget. Namaste, Gopalji, and thank you for sparing.
Namaskar.
See, the budget all over divided in 10 parts, but the constant theme seems to be the Gyan, Garib, Youth, Annadatta, and Nari. How do you see overall picture? We'll go the sectoral understanding of the budget. But how do you see overall, budget? And if we want to understand budget for a common man, how would you explain in nutshell?
Namaskar, Prafulji. We have to see and analyze this budget about the overall picture that you are talking about. Yesterday, Prime Minister Modi ji said that this will be the budget for the common man and it will lay the foundation for Viksit Bharat. What is our sankalp that we want to see by 2047 India to be a developed country with a strong economy. And he said that this will lay the foundation for that 2047 Viksit Bharat and the roadmap ahead that India will take on the economic front. And when the FN today said, she has clearly set up a vision. What is the vision for Viksit Bharat? She says about that 100% skilled labor, strong agriculture growth and development, and women participation to be over 70%. That is the concept of Viksit Bharat that the Prime Minister and the FM has laid before us. And how to achieve this objective? There are 3 parts, very important parts. It is said that 4 focus segments of the society, like farmers, agriculturists, annadatta, poor people, garib, yuva, or nari shakti. These 4 segments in the society have been the focus area of this budget. And if you identify every provision, you will find that all the provisions takes care of either of these 4 segments of the society. One part. Second is important that if you are working for the welfare of the people, like our ideology of Antyodaya, welfare of the last person in the society, these are the vulnerable sections and they will be supported through our Antyodaya ideology. But you also need resource generation, and therefore budget identifies 4 engines of growth. Economic growth will take place in 4 engines, and they are agriculture, MSME sector, and third is investment. Investment has been divided into 3 categories: people, economy, and innovation. And the 4th engine of growth that has been identified in the budget is export. So these 4 engines of growth will create the resources for the country, and through those resources, the 4 vulnerable section or sections of the society which need major help from the welfare scheme, they will be taken care of. In addition to as we discussed, there is a roadmap also. There are 6 areas that have been identified for long-term reforms and action from the government. They are also important. So what is the objective? Welfare of the vulnerable and poor sections and the society. it will be
Emphasis specifically, he said that Sabka Vikas and
yes, and it will be done through these four engines of growth. And also government has identified for its own 6 domain areas for reforms where government will work on a long-term basis so that we achieve the target of Viksit Bharat by 2047. So this is overall picture of 360 degrees analysis on this budget.
The first part of the budget mainly focuses on the agriculture and rural development. And one of the interesting aspects that our Union Finance Minister spoke about, that migration should be an option, not a necessity. Most of the people migrate out of compulsion. We have seen that during the COVID. But unfortunately, the one of the key parameters in as an economist, you also understand, one of the key parameters nowadays for understanding development or even economic growth has been the parameter of urbanization. How are we going to tell people that you are going to get the same kind of facilities and the same kind of infrastructure, the same kind of healthcare and education, and stay back there? Does this budget give something for the rural area in that sense, where the people will, or the rural economy will eventually become a sort of growth engine or contribute substantially beyond agriculture sector in the economy?
Very important question, Kapilji. The thing is that if we look into the last 7 or 8 years of our government performance, identifying the aspirational district was a very important aspect of our model of growth, where 115 aspirational districts were identified. Those were considered to be backward areas, and there it was said that the collector or the DM will be responsible to identify those people who are eligible for certain benefits of the government scheme, and they will have to be connected by the collector and the DM to take the benefits to those people. Similar kind of another very Pradhan Mantri Dhan Dharani Krishi Yojana has been identified and announced in this, where 100 districts which are agriculturally having potential to grow agriculturally, but they are backward in the development on the agriculture, they will be identified, and focused areas for irrigation, seed provision of the seeds, and other urea provision, etc., focusing their agriculture growth through even food processing, setting up food processing unit from FPO and setting up cooperatives. So this 100 aspirational district with regards to agriculture will focus and will achieve the objective which you are telling. With the FMS said, and you are underlined that migration should be an option, not a necessity. So if these 100 backward areas with regard to agriculture gets developed, their income of the farmers and rurals in that area gets uplifted, automatically it will be counter to migration. And the backward area, once these backward area gets developed, the whole country as agriculturally gets developed. So agriculture sector has huge potential. It has been realized in this budget, and focused area for engine of growth is one of the agriculture sector, because we also understand that there is challenge of employment. Ultimately, why there is migration? People want to shift to cities. They feel that we don't have
Better opportunity.
we don't have proper opportunities in the agriculture sector or rural economy. So when we are talking about handicrafts, kutir udyog, about food processing units, about farmer producer organization, through this migration will be controlled. But
three key areas, which I found very interesting in the budget, which actually changing our perspective towards rural economy, where rural economy should not be seen just as agriculture. This is the misnomer that most of our rural areas, India, they have been very entrepreneurial and industrial units. One is cotton productivity and its connection with the garment industry. Two is the way 6 years mission when it comes to the pulses, and at the same time there is a special focus on edible oil, Atmanirbharta in edible oil. And third interesting dimension that I see with special focus, maybe, it can be seen as a political thing also because Bihar is going for elections, but Makhana board in Bihar. I remember, I think 2020, just before or after COVID, I think in Atmanirbhar Bharat, the program when finance minister unveiled that time, she specifically focused on the cluster development program. And then also Makhana was one of the key ingredients that she had identified. So how do you see what kind of the growth and the kind of skill-based self-employment opportunity, employability not in the sense of somebody giving job to somebody, but somebody actually skill-based creating jobs for the society. How far you are seeing this possibility in these three sectors, cotton and garment, oil seeds and Atmanirbharta in oil sector, and the concept like Makhana board?
What I understand from and I remember is that in last 1 or 2 budget, Prime Minister gave a focus on mota anaj, millets, and it became a global movement. And we have seen the success, how it has added to the incomes of the farmers and the health of about the nutritional value that it is generating. So from that success, this area, then we had seen in Assam that bamboo growth was the focused on certain project, the product which are not, which have good potential but not have got the support from the government. Can if they are potentially realized, it can increase income for the people. So Makhana board is one there where in Bihar, it is an addition to agriculture activity. It can create good income. It is a health generation value also. So this kind of specific announcement and setting up a Makhana board will help. I think this is the focus area. And what you are talking about, the other three, oil is important for Atmanirbhar. Edible, we import most of our edible oil from countries like Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia and other countries, where we do need to, if we start producing them, our farmers will also get a better income realization from there.
No, it's actually a dual benefit because we save a lot of foreign exchange also.
Pulses also we impute.
We are Atmanirbhar in one sector.
Our ideology and concept of Atmanirbhar will come through identifying products which we are importing and which can also be grown in India, which will enhance the income of our agriculturist, farmers, etc. So pulses and then this edible oil, these are important areas. And cotton is, I think, because of India is very textile industry is very much employment generating. Our lot of industries, industrial labor is dependent on textile industry. We have to import cotton from many countries. So these three, pulses, edible oil, oil seeds and cotton, if they can be consumed domestically, but our dependence on export can be reduced, it will save our foreign exchange. So therefore, there is a special focus on this. So it is blending well with the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept.
There's one interesting dimension when it comes to rural economy. Postal Department यानी डाकिया, ये concept थी. Suddenly now first time I am seeing this कि Indian Post as a catalyst to rural economy. ये क्या मतलब क्या माजरा है कि how Postal Department is going to help in boosting the rural economy, because ultimately क्या अभी मतलब वो बैंकिंग सर्विसेज देंगे, वो
देखो ये जो पोस्टल डिपार्टमेंट का है, इट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ सेल. इट्स एन इम्पोर्टेंट
because it has got the highest network when it comes to services. It has got the biggest network,
And now-
which is underutilized or almost unutilized in many parts because डाक की कंसेप्ट तो व्हाट्सएप और ईमेल ने लगभग खत्म कर दिया है.
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि देखिए ना, आप आज के समय में अगर हम देखें तो ई कॉमर्स बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रहा है एंड स्टार्टअप भी ई कॉमर्स में बहुत सारे हो रहे हैं. उसमें जो होम डिलीवरी का एक इशू है, तो डिलीवरी मैकेनिज्म को एफिशिएंट करना, स्ट्रेंथन करना, उसके लिए बहुत बड़ा नेटवर्क चाहिए. तो इफ यू now establish a new network, how much cost it will require? But postal department itself has big network. It can help into the delivery mechanism. Second is point of sale for financial inclusion also. Various deposit scheme, banking services, etc. are now being provided through the post office. Earlier only it was taking for collection of deposit. Now it can help into payment banks and other banking related NBFC activities also. So utilizing of this network, which was available for in the remotest part of the country, and creating benefit for the particularly for the rural economy, is a very good concept. And this has also received a focus from the government that postal services will be used at point of sale, providing financial services, providing financial inclusion programs, providing delivery mechanism, and ultimately even several e-governance initiatives can also take place through the postal department. Government is setting up common service centers. Instead of that, those centers, post offices itself can develop and work as a common service center for getting Aadhaar card, for getting other Ayushman card, other welfare, connecting people through various government schemes. And this is a big initiative.
अभी पोस्टल डिपार्टमेंट या पोस्ट ऑफिस ये केवल डाकिया के लिए नहीं जाना जाएगा. व्हाट आई सी इज ये बेसिकली एक तरीके से रूरल कम्युनिटी को वर्ल्ड से कनेक्ट करने वाला एक सेंटर बनेगा.
उनके फाइनेंशियल
इंक्लूजन का एक बन जाएगा. डीबीटी की स्कीम्स हो, चाहे उनके रेमिटेंसेस हो, चाहे उनका इंश्योरेंस वाले इश्यूज हो, बैंकिंग सेक्टर की फैसिलिटीज उनको, क्योंकि बैंक्स तो जब तक एक सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ क्लाइंट अवेलेबल नहीं है तो वायबल नहीं है ब्रांच की. बट पोस्ट ऑफिस कैन वर्क एज अ बैंक,
ऑलरेडी एस्टेब्लिश्ड है वहाँ.
सो ये तो बेसिकली
ई कॉमर्स जो उभरता हुआ जो पूरा सेगमेंट,
इवन कुरियर
है, प्रोडक्ट डिलीवरी है.
बेसिकली पोस्ट ऑफिस को अभी एक मल्टी फैसिलिटी सेंटर नाम दे देना चाहिए. पोस्ट इज नॉट नो लॉन्गर इज अ पोस्ट.
कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर से भी आगे
इट्स अ मल्टी फैसिलिटी सेंटर फॉर रूरल कम्युनिटी. एक जो सेकंड फोकस रहा है, मैं इसका एक एग्रीकल्चर का पार्ट भी है, लेकिन अगला वाला जो सेक्शन यूनियन मिनिस्टर ने किया ये एमएसएमई का है. is a very important sector for India because India was never actually the high-end heavy industry economy. It was always the MSMEs who has that have created employability that they have supported the large industrial sectors also, and at the same time they are the real drivers of Indian economy. Government has been talking about this for a long time, but post-COVID somehow MSMEs did not get this kind of push that we are seeing this time in the budget. And credit facility seems to be, both for agriculture and MSME, seems to be a very, very important focus when it comes to the budgetary allocation. So, the credit guarantee cover has been revised up to 10 crores, and if it is a term loans, then it is up to 20, which is a huge leap. And at the same time, when it comes to the medium enterprises, the amount from 125 is revised to 500. Again, So how government is actually seeing the role of MSMEs, and which part or which sectors within MSME you see getting real benefits out of this particular provision?
Two important sectors have been identified in MSME. One is the toy industry, and the second is the second is कौन सा है? दो इंडस्ट्रीज को इन्होंने आइडेंटिफाई किया है. एक टॉय इंडस्ट्री है और एक जो इन्होंने MSME
फूड प्रोसेसिंग है,
फूड प्रोसेसिंग है.
ये भी है, फुटवेयर एंड लेदर भी है.
हाँ, फुटवेयर एंड लेदर. हाँ, ये दोनों MSME में दो सेक्टर्स आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं सरकार ने, टॉय इंडस्ट्री एंड फुटवेयर एंड लेदर. और ये दोनों को इसलिए आइडेंटिफाई किया है कि इसमें लेबर इंटेंसिव है. तो गवर्नमेंट का फोकस दिस टाइम इज दैट वी शुड आइडेंटिफाई दोज इंडस्ट्रीज विच आर लेबर इंटेंसिव.
एंड इन एवरी एरिया आई बिलीव भारत में हर एरिया में इसमें अपना यूनिक कल्चरल कंट्रीब्यूशन भी देने की क्षमता है.
बिल्कुल.
जो टॉय मैसूरू में बनता है और जो टॉय मान लो उत्तर प्रदेश के उत्तराखंड के एक विलेज में बनता है, उसमें क्रिएटिविटी के टोटली डिफरेंट डायमेंशंस हमारे संस्कृति के साथ ऐड होते हैं.
कल्चर प्रिजर्वेशन भी है और रूरल वर्कफोर्स को सपोर्ट करने का और उनके जो एक्टिविटीज को उनकी फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन को बढ़ाता है. और वी हैव सीन दैट वी वर in last 3-4 years back we were importing maximum toys from other countries, and now our domestic toy industry is taking global footprints. So what has been the vision in this support of MSME sector is build supply chain, regional and global supply chain, and try to make them independent from import supply. Because no industry can survive without regional and global supply chain support, etc. But if their dependence on import to completing their supply chain is reduced successively, huge incentives have been announced by government to come out with certain product and processes which they don't have to import. It's an import substitution. So MSME sector has been encouraged and given incentive-wise to get into the regional and global supply chain. At the same time, in their backward integration, they should get less and less dependent on import of certain processes and products so that our domestic market get more support and benefit. And at the same time, areas which are huge potential for growth of MSME, particularly as we have pointed out, those areas are getting support. Their credit, as you mentioned, that they will get a credit support, they will get credit guarantee. Then even on innovation, major innovation field and startup. And
there is a separate provision for startup within MSME.
So they are majorly part of small businesses, I would say, and cottage industries, handicraft industries, through cooperative, etc.
आप बीजेपी के स्पोक्स पर्सन है, लेकिन उसके साथ आप इकोनॉमिस्ट भी है. MSME का जो एक कॉमन प्रॉब्लम रहा है कि एक तरफ इंसेंटिवाइजेशन है, बट दे आर स्टिल not their GST related issues are still not. How do you see that is being addressed in this budget?
Yeah, that important. What if you look into the 6 reform areas which the government has said, the topmost priority of government in regulation and reform. If yesterday economic survey also said that we have to reform the regulatory ecosystem, and so that our entrepreneurs' mind and time is freed. And therefore, when Prime Minister also said in his remark today after the budget is that regulatory area will see a lot of reforms. Taxation is one area, In addition to, there will be huge reforms in the financial sector and regulatory ecosystem also. There will be focused reforms by decriminalization of major act, and everybody will be considered innocent unless the philosophy will change from harassment to trust. And there Kar Samadhan scheme has also been announced. Decriminalization of 100 laws has been announced. Repealment of unnecessary laws, which was already being done, it has been further expedited. In the taxation, a new tax bill which will be in 1 week.
No, that will address mainly the income tax part. But my
No,
concern
but the
is
taxation is include not only income tax, it will also use regulatory reforms with the mindset that the people, those who are not harassed, those who are compliant, should not be harassed. That mindset itself will create a benefit for the those who are compliant. And I tell you, if you look only in GST, now if you talk to any small business or MSME, he will be saying you that GST has put a lot of ease in our doing business. Why? Because one thing is registered. Earlier there were almost 13 to 16 different indirect taxes. He had to get himself registered in those areas, and then in those areas he had to run for assessment, filing of returns, everything. Now there is a single return and single system where he can file his returns in online basis. Registration is online, assessment is online, return is online, and refund also he gets it online. So government in this last 6 years has come a long way in simplifying through use of technology. Still there are certain issues with regard to inverted duty structure, etc. That is part of GST Council, and almost 56 meetings have taken place under GST Council, and continuously government is trying to smoothen the process.
another interesting dimension of this budget is, first time some finance minister talking about investing in people. What does it mean? When it comes to the budgetary thing, how government is going to invest in people and how it is going to help the economy.
Investing in people, when we talk about the Vision 2047, the thing is skilling of the population, their health and education. 3 important areas for investing in people where the government can do a lot is creating good educational system, and there are lot of university center, IITs, 5 IITs have been identified for improvement. Then Center of Excellence has been identified, that AI Center of Excellence will be set up with a fund of 500 crores. And earlier also government has been working on education and academic connect, new NEC, new education policy implementation is being done. In this also there is a provision for language-based support from the government. So education focus is
Bharatiya Bhasha.
Bharatiya Bhasha, that some fund is set up. And even on the health also there is sector. There is lot of initiative about connecting through broadband all the
medical education is major.
Yeah. And
I think 75,000 seats in next 5 years.
75,000?
Seats in the next 5 years will be added to
new seats are
medical education, which is a huge miss.
In health also, there are a lot of support is being done. So health, education, and innovation, skilling. For skilling also, there is a focused, targeted delivery that the government has identified.
Now, investing in people, many of the schemes, for example, Jal Jeevan Mission or other even housing schemes, these have been ongoing, projects. But there are 2 things which I find very interesting. One is about first time Vikasit Bharat has been linked to the nuclear energy mission. And secondly, the Maritime Development Fund. Now, why this particular focus areas? Like, for example, in Viksit Bharat, when I see investing in people, there is infrastructure, there is Jal Jeevan Mission, power sector reforms, urban challenge fund, which is again a very creative way of presenting it. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but Udan has been there earlier also, and Swami Fund also has been there. But these two things, nuclear energy mission and maritime development fund. Earlier, there was a lot of debate about whether nuclear energy is, viable or not, or safe, and how sustainable it is. How this particular atomic energy debate is going to be shaped with this mission, and maritime development fund of 25,000 crores, which is a corpus fund, and financing it up to 49% contribution by the government, which is very interesting.
These two areas which you are mentioning about maritime development, India has a huge coastal
maritime borders.
Borders, and a lot of our population is dependent on the coastal area, on fisheries and other products from the ocean. And therefore, the earlier Sagarmala project was also envisaged, where connecting all the areas near the sea was done, and it is working on the infrastructure side in a nice way. Now, this fund, what is happening is many of our fisheries, boats, etc., they need upgradation, they need credit, etc. They need a different kind of support from the government. So specifically, what PM Modi ji does is identify a challenging area and then focus on the development issues or growth challenges for that area. And therefore, this is one area where India has good potential. It is for benefit of the common man also. Nutrition value is also there. And it is replenishable. So this is the focus area for this that has been done. On the power, our energy security is very important. And that is one of the high point of this budget, because we import, if our dependence upon fossil fuel is very high, almost 80% of our energy requirement we are importing. And almost 70% of our import bill is going
because of the energy needs.
One area was renewable energy, but renewable energy has a limitation, because if you go only depend upon solar energy, there is a problem of storage, and then there is a problem of
Man, you have to build infrastructure for that over a period of time. Our solar panels also, we are highly dependent on China and Chinese imports.
So Prime Minister said that whichever industry or whichever product we are highly dependent upon import, that has to be taken care of as an import substitution focus. And the important thing that remains is nuclear energy. And in this budget, all 100 small nuclear reactors have been, modular reactors have been identified, and FMS said that these will be spread around different parts of the country, and it will provide energy. So, and target has been set as 100 gigawatt in next 5 years. The 100 gigawatt of energy, how much ingredient that is for our industry and ease of living and ease of doing business, our industry requirement. So our dependence upon foreign exchange, our dependence upon energy security will be domestically fulfilled. So I think these two areas have also...
There are also, other interesting dimensions in this particular area of investing in people, economy and innovation, where R&D for, government is inviting private sector to, invest in R&D. Prime Minister is going to announce 10,000 fellowships for technological research, especially for IITs and Indian Institute of Science. Besides that, Gyan Bharatam mission, which is I found very interesting because
reform
documentation and conservation of manuscript heritage, which is again a very interesting thing. But if we come to promoting exports, first time we are talking something about export promotion mission. Again, now taking export on a mission mode. We since liberalization in 1990s, I remember we have been talking about this changing this import-export ratio. In certain areas, we have made remarkable achievements. But where do we see focus? Because what are the areas where we are really going to make a substantial contribution when it comes to exporting goods or services, whatever?
What is happening is we have to also look into what economic survey pointed out. Earlier, economic growth of the countries was propelled by export. Integrate your industries to the export market, cater to the global markets and their demand, and you grow in the manufacturing sector. But slowly and slowly over the post-COVID, protectionism is coming even into the developed countries' policies also. Europe, America, everywhere they are going on to protecting their domestic market and protecting their domestic industry. So export is a big challenge, and without export, our manufacturing sector cannot only depend upon domestic market. It is now very clear that if we want to grow in a leap bound from here and increase our manufacturing sector base and its contribution to the GDP from present 16-17% to 25% to the GDP, we will have to not only depend upon domestic market, but also somehow make our manufacturing sector competitive to compete globally. And for that, one important is input cost. And for input cost, power is being given. And the budget also talks about investment and FDI also, simplification into the FDI process so that we can attract global investment and creating a competitive index for states also. How much they are friendly with the providing support to the manufacturing sector, and index is being created for the state. So competitive federalism index is also being created. And therefore, we have to make our industries competitive for that power, land, labor cost, logistic cost. On these areas,
there are provisions related to export credit or cross-border factoring support or support to MSMEs to even tackle the non-tariff measures for overseas trade.
like climate and the carbon emission.
But the point is, which sector we are focusing for this export promotion? Because economic surveys says, we have seen a steady growth in the first 9 months, especially in merchandise and services, but which is coming up to 6% around growth in exports. Now, when we are saying export promotion mission, what are we looking at?
You see, past history has to be looked into. Our mobile industry, we had only two manufacturing units in mobile industry. Now we have more than 200. Similarly, we have seen the success in automobile sector. When our automobile industry integrate automobile part manufacturing industry is well integrated into global auto industries, we have seen the steady growth in the automobile parts manufacturing industry. Now, government has found that chip manufacturing is an important area where our industry can perform well, and there is a import substitution area that can be worked on. So government has set up 90,000 crore investment fund in developing chip manufacturing. Space technology is one area where a lot of startups is coming and where India has shown the world how low cost industry can help the growth of the space industries. Technology, fintech on services side, then developing various technological solutions for digital public infrastructure creation. All these areas, so services, software development, fintech, there's space technology, chip manufacturing, automobile part manufacturing, even this mobile manufacturing, and then pharmaceutical also. India has good potential. Vaccine, we are capturing huge market globally. So these are the areas which have been identified and are being supported through PIL. Production link, PLI. Production link incentives, and 14 sectors have been identified. So government will continue in that. But issues with regard to other supply chain and supporting, particularly because export cannot be generalized. Some product export will require certain other, even intellectual property right issue, patent, copyright. These reforms are also required. So that is also a focus area for the government. So this mission will look into different aspects. And when you are talking about that transformative reform committee, that is
I'm coming to it because Union Finance Minister has said that reforms is going to be the fuel for this entire growth. Now, and the financial sector reforms are identified with, whether Grameen Credit. I have a serious, means even FDI limit in insurance sector is expected to be from 74 to 100%.
Is they invest their premium into
Indian economy.
That is the rider.
And there is a, but what I find is when it comes to especially the rural economy, when it comes to, of course, there are regulatory reforms, as you said, high level committee for regulatory reforms is there. But there are many areas where union government will need a stronger partnership with the states while implementing these reforms. When it comes to related to land, even rationalization of requirements, speedy approval of companies and mergers and all these things. How is, because many of the non-BJP government states are on a confrontationist mode.
So therefore we are talking about double engine sarkar.
No, that is fine, but there are governments and we will be facing elections after elections at least till 2034, as if everything goes fine and one nation, one election is set in order, then perhaps this electoral considerations will be less when it comes to the economic policy and governance policies. But this whether acquisition, land acquisition, trade facilitation, export promotion, in all these sectors, especially for handicraft and leather, in all these, there will be,
Therefore, we have set up a competitive index where ultimately the states cannot progress unless they create an environment where they can attract global industrial houses to set up industry in their state. And for that, you see those, you take I live in Uttar Pradesh. You take the example Uttar Pradesh. It was a Bimaru state in 2017. Now it is on ease of doing business. Its rank has come to second. It has created labor reforms. It has created land bank where on the website. Uttar Pradesh has created Udyog Mitra website where everything is online, from permission to availability of land to availability of power, etc. And therefore it is seeing the growth potential. So some of the states in the south we see they are highly well performing, Andhra, Telangana, because they are doing good for the industrial, attracting industrial investment. Maharashtra is doing good because of its industrialization already, but the policy of the government in welcoming industries. So now with the creation of index, every state will competitive to provide better facilities so that it can ultimately see its growth. Except the example of Delhi, which only looks after that we will give freebies and not do anything for the resource generation. The states are now, most of the states are now understanding clearly that they have to generate resources for their sustainability of welfare schemes. And further, government is also building under the 15th Finance Commission, etc., incentivizing states on their performance basis. So these things are being built to unleash the power of competitive federalism.
Now let us come to the most, favorite topic of budget. There is the income tax.
People will talk more about this, but what we have talked is more important.
Yes. No, it is equally important, but it is for the common man, especially the middle class, educated, middle salaried people, that these are the things that matter the most or they understand easily. So slabs is one important. There were indications, but there are many people who are calling it as a surprise that up to 12 lakh, government has given certain. Is it just a some electoral consideration, or it is a very calculated risk?
It is very calculated move, because what happened is, in last 4 or 5 years, almost 25 crore people have been pulled out of poverty by a effort of our government. And those 25 crore people who have been pulled out of poverty form the neo-middle class now. And even in the middle class also, now there is two important elements in there. One is neo-middle class and upper middle class. This neo-middle class, if it is supported by the government, it will create what is problem in our economy was in the private investment.
Not supported, not troubled by the government. Left alone for consumption.
It is a positive support. If we had not increased the nil tax slab to 12 lakhs and for salary class 12 lakhs 75,000, it would have been just a support. But now it's a positive support from our government. What was hurting the economy, that private investment was not coming because consumption was low. From this effort, from this relaxation in the tax, there is huge amount of money available with the people and neo-middle class, particularly neo-middle class. If your income increases above 12.75 lakh, you get into the slab, though it had been reduced. Slabs have been divided and
up to 8 lakh 5% and up to 12 lakh.
Brought out the taxation relief has been given. But for neo-middle class, it's a huge relief, particularly. So more money is in their hand. That will go into consumption. That consumption will create demand for the industry and relief for the neo-middle class at the same time. And it will propel the economy. The focus and the idea of this budget is don't increase taxes, but increase the size of the economy, increase the compliances in the tax collection, increase the efficiency in delivery mechanism, and better utilize your resources, better collect resources through compliance, and find innovative ways of new resources, and through that increase the size of the GDP. You see, fiscal deficit target has also been kept below 4.4%.
That is removed.
The FMF said that we are targeting declining debt to GDP ratio.
Yes.
So no tax increase, reduction in taxes.
No, it looks like a dream budget, but
the fiscal deficit is under control to reduce to from 4.9, which was last year's target, has been now kept at 4.5%. Debt to GDP ratio to be declined, but still the expenditure is increased from to more than 50.56 lakh crores. So that is the beauty of this budget lies in this: reduce tax, still increase resources and increase welfare.
So where will be, means it's where will the means if there has to be fiscal management discipline up to 4.4, 4.5, whatever, then there cannot be more debt option. If taxes are reduced, there is no major increase in other taxes also. So where will this money come from? Because rural economy is going to get funding, innovation is going to get, AI is going to get, MSME is going to get funding. Where will this rupee come from? This income tax is showing 22%. Excise on many things, even the excise duties are reduced, especially the pharma sector. There is a major relief when it comes to the essential medicines. So where will this money raise from?
Surely, from asset monetization is one area. Better performance of public sector undertaking is one area. Then the issue of higher compliances from direct and indirect tax, not from the rate, but from reduction and making more people come to the fold of filing their returns and paying income tax, that compliance, etc., is being created, and ultimately through growth in the economy. All these measures which have been announced in our budget, they are for propelling the economic growth, increasing the size of GDP. With increasing size of the GDP, there will be more liquidity into the system, and there will be more private PPP model has been discussed, FDI has been discussed. All these will create resources, and ultimately the focus has been shifted just to snatch money from the people, to give money to the people and channelize that money into growth and investment of the economy, create a larger size of the economy, and create a Viksit Bharat and economically strong India. That is the beauty of this budget, I think.
Ideologically speaking, there are two areas. Lastly, I would like to have your perspective on this. One is, the culture and the historical sites, the religious and cultural tourism. And second is the defense. These ideologically for BJP, this has been the key areas. Defense means security terms and Atmanirbharta also. And promoting culture and cultural. Do you see that enough has been done in this budget, or there was more scope?
As far as culture is concerned, there is enough thing has been done, because if you see, even I attended one program from the government on GI.
GI tag.
GI tagging. It was earlier 200 products in around 2014. Only 200 products in from India were GI tagged. Now it is 650 products which are GI tagged. And there is huge potential which has been unleashed on those export of those products globally. Their demand has been unleashed. And now in 5 years, the target is to identify 10,000 products with GI tagging and get them registered under GI. Similarly, 50 sites have been identified where cultural tourism will take place. Their infrastructure will be created with hotels, road, airways, connectivity, their awareness. And economic activity is being linked to the cultural activity, one part. Even the economic linkages of various cultural activity like art, music, dance, food, festival, architecture, their economic and social linkages are being established we have seen the example of Kashi Vishwanath corridor, Ayodhya, now Kumbh we have seen how much economic potential. Even if you look into only Kumbh this time, in 2019, UP organized Kumbh, it spent 4,500 crore, and estimated economic activity, which CII report said was it generated around 2.25 lakh crores of economic activity. This time, it is expected that government will spend only 8,500 crores on this Kumbh.
7,000 to 8,000.
Yeah, 7,000 to 8,000. In only revenue to UP government, 25,000 crores will be collected.
And all your
economic activity will be multiplied. So cultural economy, there's huge potential in India because of our civilizational heritage, and that the government is unleashing and trying to establish everything on that economic activity. Defense, you can say that specifically more could be sent, but you look the defense industry. It some time back, 90% of our products, defense requirement were being imported. Now, last year, 68% of defense procurement was done domestically. So, defense in
And yesterday,
setting up defense
there
corridor.
was this interesting thing, even in economic survey, where besides 68%, 200
Yes.
products which are now we are producing domestically. So it's the private partnership that is now.
And we have discussed in this, our debate discussion in this, about the main aspects of the budget. There are 11 appendix which tackles each and individual part. And if you go into the details, all those, they take up different aspects of the economy, and individually they deal with different requirements. So defense, education, health, tourism, all these are agriculture, skilling development. Many things are given in the appendix, and they cater to the need of the economy. So ultimately, it's a visionary budget, and though we never claim as a Bharatiya Janata Party worker, we never claim that the work is finished. If a work is finished, we have accomplished everything. There is no need for us. We still know that there are challenges remaining. We have to work. This is a beginning, well begun, but still lot of roadmap has to be covered. So there are gaps. We will continue to fill them and work towards our mission of Viksit Bharat.
Thank you, Gopalji, for helping us understand this budget. So, viewers and friends, Modi 3.0, the first budget of Modi government's third term, and we are clearly seeing agriculture and MSME and even the export promotion and tax reforms and innovation. This seems to be the clear-cut focus of the government for New Year's. Apparently it looks a very positive budget and consumption-oriented, and still promoting skills and employability. So hopefully, this discussion has helped you in understanding the key provisions. Of course, the devil lies in details, and Union Minister has used. First time I've heard, some finance minister using appendix word so many times. So she was clearly mentioning.
Are there?
She was clearly mentioning each time when talking about the details. So we will get into those details, as the time goes. But today, when it is the budget day, and from the party side, how party sees this budget, Gopalji has come to our studio and explained this budget for our viewers. Thank you, Gopalji.
Thank you, Prafulji, and I thank the organizer weekly for giving me this opportunity. I hope this will help others to understand, and it has also helped at least me to understand the intricacies and the mind of the people. Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.